Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM eCast presenting ANZCAR Truck Series, the final round of the ANZCAR Truck Series for Season 1 2021. And I'm joined tonight by Edward Foster, replacing Carl Withy, who's actually out on track tonight, Ed.
Yeah, Carl's actually out there having a bit of a race tonight, so I thought I'd jump in here and sub for him. And probably won't be as lively and entertaining as Carl, but hopefully he'll get some lively and entertaining stuff going on the track for us, and we can all talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just see there the audio is peaking a bit. Sorry, I'll just get that corrected, and there we go. So we're here for the last round, and currently just with about 8.5 minutes to go in the end of practice. So we'll give you an update on the points at the moment. Ed and I were just going through the possibilities for tonight. Now, we've got 23 trucks out on track at the moment. Of course, people can still arrive during practice and register for the race, but as it stands at the moment, we're going to be focusing on the race for third place. It is between Matty Raymond and Ruben Phelps, and Christopher Finlay there, a very outside chance, but an outside chance as well of maybe jumping on the podium. Just if we get a few more entries here, we're going to see if we can get to maybe 26 to spice things right up, but otherwise it will be that battle that we'll be having a look at, and both drivers driving really well this season. Of course, last week we did crown Stephen Williams the champion-elect for Season 1 2021, I should say. Luke Traher sealing up second place as well. So I believe, Ed, you'll be able to tell us, that'll be his highest finish in ANZCAR events.
Stephen Williams?
No, for Luke.
Luke, yes, I believe so. It's definitely Stephen Williams' first championship, I know that much. And really good for him. He's the most experienced ANZCAR driver out there, so great to see him come away with the title. But I believe that is Luke's best series finish. He only did really start to come on the scene back end of last year. I believe he did a few sort of lower league races, and I believe he's actually leading the Rookie of the Year in the Cup at the moment as well. So he's actually had a really good start to 2021.
Right, yeah, that actually, I didn't even think of that would be the case with Steve Williams, to be brutally honest. I thought he would have already wrapped up a title or two over his tenure with ANZCAR, given how strong he can drive. So that surprised me. Yeah,
he's been very close a couple of times, but he's managed to put it all together for this particular season. I think he's only had one win, or perhaps two, but he's just been there. He's been a factor in every single race. He's always been there or thereabouts, and that's what you need to do to win titles in stock cars. Just really be consistent. There's only 1 point in between each position, the way they're awarded. So consistency is really key, and he's always been there or thereabouts every race this year.
As we're actually on board with him now, as he and Skirley decide that they're going to do a little bit of dancing there and head around. Of course, we've got Michael Skurlock in our thoughts. He took out the ANZAC Super Speedway race at Talladega last Thursday night in a good run on the final lap as well. Just pipping him at the post to get the win there and keep the thoughts of taking out, I believe, what's the title there called, Ed, with all the Super Speedway events?
It's not all the Super Speedway events, it's the ANZCAR Grand Slam. So it's they've got to win 3 out of 4 significant events across the season. The next one's going to be a race at Charlotte, and the final round of that is going to be at Darlington. So a couple of different tracks there, not all super speedways, but once you need to win 3 or 4 of those, and now there's 2 down. Skirley's won them both, so he's the only one in the hunt to still do that. And very difficult achievement to win those 4 races across a season. And if he manages to do it the first time ANZCAR have actually offered that prize, that'd be fantastic.
I think he'll be well and truly happy about that as well. The prize rumoured, and you can confirm, is it a sim rig that they win?
It is indeed. It's actually being put together by the ANZCAR competitors, Liam Ford and Adam Rousel, and they're actually getting into sim building and rig building. They're both metal workers by trade, I believe, as well. So they're very good at what they do. I've seen a few sort of preliminary shots of what this rig's going to look like. It's very, very nice. And Skirley's going to be going all out to try and capture that one, I'm sure.
Absolutely, and who wouldn't want a new sim rig? There's plenty of options out there, but that one sounds like it's going to be a beauty. So if he gets there, look forward to seeing some pictures of it, but he's still got a little bit of work to do with that. What's the next round coming up for that, if I can put you on the spot?
The next round that counts for the Grand Slam? That would be the Charlotte race coming up in a few weeks' time.
And we'll make sure everyone has to join us then. Just under 4 minutes to go. There's still a few guys getting around. The fastest time so far is Hamish Gallagher with a 19:03. He's got a decent gap over his competitors as well at the moment, so qualifying should be an interesting one. Yeah,
that's interesting actually, because Hamish banged that time in very early on in the session, whereas everybody else has been building up to it. He had a 0.2 of a second lead over everybody else for, I'd say, about 3/4 of the session before the track sort of rubbered in and everybody started catching up. And interestingly, Hamish has gone no faster. So I'm not sure if he just banged in a qualifying sim at the start when the track was clear and he's been working on long runs since then. But certainly he did have that early advantage when the track rubber was not too high. So that could be something which is going to come into play perhaps in the early stages of the race.
So we'll have to wait and see. And the stream tonight brought to you by AJ Insurance Services, our streaming partner. If you're after anything to do with business insurance or even some advice for your personal insurance, Joe Daly and the team AJ Insurance Services are the ones that we encourage you to contact. They support the stream. In fact, they support a lot of stuff throughout the Aussie sim racing community. So as always, we'd appreciate it if you support the people that support the community and make this possible.
Absolutely. Always support the brands that associate themselves with your favourite leagues and your favourite drivers and even your rival teams, because that kind of thing brings more people in, opens it up to more people, exposes it to more people and makes the entire thing bigger, which is, of course, what we all want.
Yeah, absolutely. The community obviously has grown significantly over the last 12 months thanks to COVID, and it's probably one of the only benefits out of the COVID outbreak, but the sim community continues to grow, which is good for everyone. And we've had really strong grids in this class too, all the way throughout Season 1. Season 2 is coming. Did you want to give us a bit of an insight on when we're heading into Season 2 2021?
We're having a week off next week, and I believe from there we are straight back into it. So it'll kick off Monday in a fortnight.
So plenty to look forward to. There's a new series that we've got to announce as well at some stage in the not too distant future. So keep your ears and eyes peeled on the ANZCAR Facebook page for that announcement, which will come out, I'm sure, at some stage in the next week or two. And that is exciting that we're going to be able to broadcast that for you as well. So things continue to expand. Of course, the Cup will still be on next week as well, whilst we have the break here. So still plenty to come. Just 1 minute to go here before we get into solo qualifying for these guys. At the moment, as you said, Hamish Gallagher fastest on track, Steve Williams second, and of course the ever dependable Michael Skurlock third. There hasn't been too many front rows that he hasn't participated in so far this season. So get a really good camera shot there of Nathan Clark, just testing out the durability of the concrete. Probably not something that he's going to be doing too much during the evening. Looking very sharp there indeed as we jump on board with him for a lap here.
Yeah, he's only new to ANZCAR, Nathan Clark. I'm fairly sure he's quite new to stock car racing in general, although I could be wrong on that. But he's doing well, sitting up there in the top 10 at the moment on time, so not too bad, especially around a tricky little track like this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So see what it brings tonight for these drivers. What have they got to look out for here, Ed? I've not had a run here.
Well, interestingly, this is a track that I've sort of struggled to hook up myself. I've never really felt 100% comfortable here. Hamish Gallagher's very, very good here. He won the All-Star race here last year. And you'll see a lot of people running that bottom line. The bottom line is the fastest way around, but I don't really like running down there. There's a lot of bumps down there, both ends of the track. There's a lot of bumps right on that bottom groove. And it really unsettles the car and just makes it for an unpleasant really experience. You don't get settled or anything. You're constantly trying to fight the car. So I tend to try and run a little bit higher up the track, maybe sort of one lane up, 2 lanes up, just to try and avoid all of that. But you can cut down a little bit on the exit without too much trouble. So it just depends on where each individual driver likes to run and how comfortable they are with the bumps.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see that. The tradition here is to jump on the car that's out of pit lane first. It's Justin Howe. He's decided that he's got a bit of stage fright and doesn't want to get on the stream. So instead we're going to jump up to Mercow Titanic in the 62, almost said FGME cast car there, the 62 Crank Esports car as he heads out on the first of his 2 flying laps here towards the end of the first lap. We might jump on board with somebody to get you to talk us through a lap in a moment. 1934 for Mercow there. Probably a little slower than we're expecting to see. Lachlan Urquio is currently on pole with a 1918. Jump on board with Michael Skurlock and maybe get you to take us through the lap head.
Yeah, sure. So it's just going to be breaking down here into turn 1. Like we said, the bottom lane is the fastest, so you do want to use that for your qualifying lap. It just seemed as though he struggled to get the nose in. He might try and drag a little bit more brake this time round at this end of the track. And he's just washed up a little bit again. That might be intentional, sort of diamonding the corner off. It looked at first as though he understeered a little bit, but it could just be that he's trying to diamond the corner off a little bit, which is a technique that you can use. Seems to be exiting the corners quite well. A little bit of oversteer there, but he catches that well within his ability to deal with that. And he's actually gone dead level to the 1,000th of a second with his teammate. We'll see what he gets with his second lap as he crosses the line there and actually jumps up ahead of him. So he was exactly the same as Luke Trahere, his teammate, but he's just bounced up ahead of him there into P3. And interestingly, we've got Urquijo and Clark on the front row at the moment.
Absolutely. So Urquijo, Clark, we've got Skurlock, Trahere, Steve Williams. He's just completed his second lap, our champion-elect. So he's currently sitting in 5th. Hamish Gallagher's finished up his laps as well. He's currently sitting down in 8th. And at the moment, it is Brad Allison out on track, who we will jump on board with now. He is just heading around to complete his first flying lap. Aaron Dillon out on track too, who's jumped up to 14th position. We've got Gary Wellman just about to complete his first lap. Brad Allison currently in the top 10. So he gets onto the second lap. Second lap generally the faster lap. So looking to improve. As Gary Wellman jumps up to 16th. Very good.
Yeah, a few guys just out there just sort of finishing off their runs at the moment. With the greatest respect to all the guys who haven't run yet, I'd be surprised if anybody actually topples off that front row. I think they might have that settled. Allison's just gone up there into 9th position, so just inside the top 10. And we haven't seen Matthew Raymond yet, Matt Knight, Kate Donnelly, or Tristan Koch, as far as I can see. And now they've only got about a couple of minutes left to go. So if they're going to head out, they need to do so quite shortly.
So a striking looking livery, that one from Brad Allison that we're on board with there. I'm not sure that I've seen that last week. That might be new. But,
yeah, Brad Allison, he runs, he's actually had that sponsorship for a while, but he runs with the Activity Hub Bali team in ANZCAR normally, of course. So he runs that sponsorship generally in another league that he runs. And I've had a bit of experience with the Custom Paint and Diecast, the sponsor on that particular truck. They do. They'll basically turn your sim car into a diecast for you. So I ordered my Cup car from last year, a little bit of a memento from the title. So they sent it over to us. Took a while to get over here just because of the whole COVID situation and all the rest of it. But I'm thrilled with it. It's sitting here on my I haven't really got a mantelpiece, but it's sitting here on my desk at the moment. And I'm thrilled with it. It's fantastic. So if you're into the stock cars and you want to get your livery put onto a little die cast for yourself, then hit them up because I'm very happy with the result on that one.
That's a fantastic concept. I hadn't heard of that. Kate Donnelly's actually out on track at the moment. He's just finished in 13th position, and Tristan Koch as well. Jump on board with him while he gets his late run in. But that's a fantastic concept that they've got going there.
Yeah, there's a few companies out there doing it, but as far as this is a Canadian-based company, and certainly I'm always keen to help out the companies that support the ANZCAR competitors, and top-notch work as well. So no complaints from my end at all. And it looks as though Tristan Koch has actually abandoned that lap too, so he doesn't look as though he's going to be getting a time. And I can't see Raymond or Knight out there on track either.
No, neither out on track. So that will wind the clock down there, and that will conclude qualifying. So we'll bring up on screen our grid for the last round of the ANZCAR Truck Series. Just bring it up on screen now. Get rid of that other rubbish off the top and we'll run through it. So we've got Lachlan Urquio and Nathan Clark on the front row there. Very close times indeed, and a unique front row for this season. Michael Skurlock, Luke Trahair with a Crank Esports lockout of row 2. We've got Stephen Williams and Dwayne Priest off row 3 with Ruben Phelps and Hamish Gallagher off row 4. Brad Allison follows them up with Murkow Doubtnack, and we've got Justin Howe and Troy Davison rounding out row 6. As we flip our way a little bit further back, it's Kay Donnelly with that last-ditch effort. He's in 13th place, followed by Christopher Finlay. Aidan Schultz, you're looking to just have a clean run tonight and get through to the end of the season, Aidan. He's had a bit of bad luck this season. In 15th, with Aaron Dillon in 16th. We've got Gary Wellman and Carl Withy, commentator, out on track. Look out in 18th position there. James Robbie and Ben Vickers, 19th and 20th, followed by Matty Raymond, Tristan Koch and Matt Knight, who did not set a time in qualifying. And that rounds out our grid for the last race, Season 1 2021.
Yeah, I'm just having a look down that grid. I think Hamish Gallagher must have made a mistake on his qualifying lap. He's over 2/10, nearly 3/10 away, which is a huge margin on a track that's less than a mile around. He's not going to be overly happy with that, I shouldn't think. So look to see him coming forward. He's not going to want to stay down there too long. I think he's definitely, well, not definitely, but I think he's got a good shot at being the fastest car on track tonight. So we'll see what he's able to do from all the way back there outside of the 4th row.
Yeah, absolutely. What are we looking at, if you know, in terms of fuel length on this? Obviously, I think we'll be seeing the caution out a couple of times, but what are we looking at?
I'm not 100% sure on the fuel range around here. I would expect probably around 70 to 80 laps, but keeping the tyres alive that long will be a nice trick as well. So if it does look like it's going to run long, and that's always a bit of a balancing act, isn't it? You're going to kind of predict the future a little bit, because do you drive slowly, save the tyres and let people pass you in the beginning because you think it's going to go long, or do you fight hard with everybody, burn your rubber off and hope for a few cautions if you think there's going to be a few cautions? So these drivers already are going to sort of have in their heads how they're going to be approaching this, what they expect this race to be. I would expect to see a couple of cautions reasonably early on, but I've been wrong before. I've been wrong most of the time this season, so we'll probably put what I say to one side and just let it play out.
No, absolutely. I did mean it. What I said, I was going to get another education here as we get ready to go. Lights are out on that truck, and I'll make the entry into pit lane in just a moment, and it will be Lachlan Urquio who's going to lead us away. Nathan Clark right next to him, and get ourselves underway.
I'll be interested to see what kind of approach Nathan Clark takes if you get some of the regulars coming up behind him looking for a way through, but we'll find out, because Aquijo's dropped the hammer and it looks as like Clark's missed a gear there. Potentially missed a gear because there was a huge check-up in that lane. I think there's been a bit of nose-to-tail contact between himself and Priest, possibly even Gallagher.
Yeah, it certainly looked that way, as you called it right, a gear miss there, and it just died on him, and that meant that Urquio was able to get away. Luke Trahair did well to avoid the contact there. He's moved up into 3rd. Nathan Clark has recovered. He's in 4th position, but there'll be a bit of damage on that truck. And
Gallagher's in the pits. Gallagher's gone to the lane. He's really stoved in the front of that number 13.
Yeah, indeed he has. Just got caught up, innocent bystander in that one, but that has meant he's had to pull into pit lane and get some attention to that truck. So he's going to try and finish. We'll need a few repairs to make sure it doesn't pop the motor. As we've got a break guy here, Michael Skurlock and Lachlan Urquio at the front here, just opening up a little bit of a gap, nearly 2 and a bit seconds on the front as Skurlock gets down the inside there. Just probably having a look, he runs some slightly different lines, trying to find some pace on these tracks. It generally seems to be the way, and he's just got down the inside of Lachlan Urquio here. Going to be on for the run as they make it down into turn 3, and he's going to get that done with that lower line, just paying dividend for him.
Yeah, and look at Quijo's pretty much doing what I was speaking about at the start of the race, just keeping off of those bumps. Now, I'm not sure if Skurlock's going to want to move up. As we saw, the bottom line is the faster of the two. Skurlock used it to great effect there. But it depends how long his tyres are going to last. If he's going to go crashing over those bumps and hurt his tyres a little bit. There are 3 wide, or we're just looking 3 wide with Trahair, Clark, and it looks as though Justin Howe had his nose in there as well. Got Preece in there in the pack, so quite a lot of jostling going on behind the front too.
Yeah, you can just see there on the screen as you were calling that, the bumps, just Howe's truck there riding the bumps on the track, so just upsetting the ride a little bit there as he's trying to make his way down on that inside line. But yeah, 3 wide as well, keeping everything clean. 6 there of Nathan Clark, who was on the front road up in front of the 78 of Justin Howe. He's up a whopping 7 positions. Big benefactor out of that nose to tail contact that when Clark missed that gear early on at the start of the race, very start of the race in fact, doesn't get much earlier than when that happened. And you can see him here just being the benefactor of that. He's just clipped the wall there on the exit of turn 2, so just going to have to watch out for that. Want to see the way that most of the races have been won this year, it's by keeping the truck clean until the end, so you can have that really strong dash towards the end of the race.
Tell you what, Skurlock's got to be happy that he pipped Trahair there in qualifying, because otherwise he would have been starting right behind Nathan Clark and caught the worst of that. I'm just having a look back there just to have a little bit of a look at Trahair in the front of that truck, just to see how much damage, if any, he's carrying. And it doesn't look really too bad. It almost seems as though he managed to get that pulled up and not drive into the back of Nathan Clark when he made that error, but the back of the truck is pretty messed up, so there's been some contact there certainly. So it looks as though he at least managed to save the nose, which is good reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. He just managed to avoid it at the front, but didn't manage to avoid getting run into in that. I think he just sort of swerved just down underneath it, so he might have just caught out the car below him when he got in front of them there, because I actually thought he got off scot-free, but you're absolutely right. There's damage to the tail of this truck. Won't affect him too much around here, but of course you prefer it to be mint rather than having any damage.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a wreck here soon. There's a few guys probably just driving a little bit too hard. It seems to be getting a little bit frantic. I'm not sure why on lap 12 it's getting as frantic as it is, but yeah, we've had, I think one of the crank trucks nearly got up into the side of, I think, Phelps there, and you've had a couple of guys. Dylan's racing pretty hard back there. Dylan's actually in the wall. He's just bounced off the wall, so you just kind of get the feeling that something's going to happen here. People are getting a little bit desperate, probably too much so for this early in the race.
So lap 14 of 130 laps, you hear it on endurance racing all the time about people going too hard too early. There's plenty to go there. Just looking at those bumps you're talking about down on the inside line, I think now that you've mentioned it, I'm looking for it, and there's plenty down low. So with that damage and close running, look at that, and on board there with Brad Allison, just up and down, that's going to upset the car a little bit, and when you're millimetres from the guy next to you, you've just got to be really careful. So as you say, there's every chance if these guys don't just take a breath that we might see our first caution of the night.
Yeah, and Brad Allison just dialing the Morse code on the rear bumper of Dwayne Preece there as well. Just gave him a couple of shots. It's all fair. It's a fairly broad hint that the car in front slowing you down. He hits him again. So it just seems as though Allison's got a little bit better pace off the turn, and he's trying to let Preece know, hey, I'm here. Meanwhile, we've seen Withy down in the pits. I'm not sure why he came down, if he had a little bit of damage or something like that, but he's pitted quite early, and that's put him about 3-4 laps down. No, he stopped. He definitely stopped. Preece up in the wall. Allison sent Preece up into the wall there, so Allison's finally got that move done. Preece moving out. Phelps trying to go around the outside. I think Preece will be keen to get up onto the back of Allison and return the favour there, perhaps, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Allison looks as though he's got some reasonably good speed in that truck.
Good crank boys as well, getting pretty close to one another there. The 62 and 52, Doutnak and Schultz. Schultz, my apologies. Schultz gets real high there. He's running up right around the wall as well. So
Preece is in the lane. Preece has had some sort of problem there. He got overtaken by everybody, and he's had to drop down into the lane. So a little bit of an issue there for him. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but yeah, it looks as though he's going to fall off the lead lap here too.
Again, plenty of damage on the front of that one and on the rear.
And with his back in too.
Again, it doesn't look like he stopped. He transit, the total pit lane transit there, 22.92. So I don't know what's going on there, but it looks like he's just driven straight through the lane.
Yeah, a little bit strange. Dortnack
surely not an incident penalty already.
Oh, you shouldn't think so. I mean, I can take a little bit of a look at it, but I don't think that's actually the case. 65 car with him, no, he hasn't had any incidents at all yet, so it's definitely not for that. So anyway, we'll turn our attention back to what's going on the track. We've got Phelps having a look down the inside of Trahair, who seems to be missing a little bit of speed there. I'm not sure if the damage on the back of that truck is hurting him more than you think it might, but he hasn't got the usual pace that he seems to have, unless he's just kind of holding off and looking after the rubber. But he's coming under attack from Bradley Allison now, and we sort of see him a couple of times this season sort of do this, where he's not running flat out, but it tends not to pay off doing that, and it's kind of holding back. So we'll see if he comes good later in the run, but at the moment he's getting way too much attention to the back end of that truck.
As you just see there as well, his teammates, I think it might have been Mirko down there, just clipping the wall again there. So the company around him, but yeah, as you say, not necessarily the place where there he goes.
Mirko around, Mirko and Aaron Dillon
getting into one another there. We've got our first caution of the night, so shout for people to jump into pit lane, lap 25.
Certainly, I'm just having a look at that there. It looks as though Mirko was really kind of minding his business up against the wall. It looks as though Dillon actually came up into him and has turned him straight around and sent him into the wall, and also caught up Wellman, who's a teammate of Aaron Dillon as well in that Simboys team. So there'll be some recriminations at Simboys HQ after that one. Mirko doing all he needs to do and just holding on the brakes there, letting the field go by before recovering that truck.
I'll just go back and have a look at that, because it does look like there was a little, there it is, the tag just from Dillon. So not at fault, so to speak. And then, the 45, as you say, of that Gary Wellman, nowhere to go at all.
All right, so just having a look at how they're running behind the pace car at the moment. Looks like Skurlock has been in. There's a couple that stayed out. Looks as though Howe, perhaps, and Nathan Clark have actually stayed out, which is a interesting strategy. I'd say that much. I wouldn't think that after 26 laps anybody would be wanting to stay out. I don't believe they've got limited tyre sets in this series or anything like that. So I think Skurlock's done the exact right thing there. Most of the experienced guys, actually, you see Skurlock, Aquijo, Williams, all of those guys all came down the lane. So it's definitely, that's the call I would have made. I would have definitely gone down the lane here. But looks as though Clark's decided to stay out, unless he's going to come down this lap, perhaps. But is he, isn't he? Can't tell. He's very low on the track. But he is going in. So I'm not sure why he waited that extra lap, because that's going to drop him right to the back of the field. That, unless he missed the pit lane entrance or something like that, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Absolutely not. So we'll switch back to leader. Skurlock resumes his place at the front of the field. He does so on fresh tyres. A full tank of gas there as well, so he's all set up to go for the restart.
And look who sat there in third place. Quietly, he's like a stealth bomber.
He absolutely
Stephen
is.
Williams.
Absolutely is.
he's got the black truck and just kind of comes through and just pop up, and there he is. You don't notice too much about him. He's fairly, I wouldn't say he's the most spectacular guy. You never see him darting out, doing 3 wide moves, running into people, giving them touch up, anything like that. But when the dust settles, there he is. And he's doing that again tonight, up there in third place.
So I'm surprised, showed there that Mirko got the wave around. I'm surprised that happened, given he caused the incident. Have I read that wrong?
I'm not sure that he got the lucky dog. he shouldn't have if iRacing has given him that, because he was involved in the incident. He may have just got the wave around by staying out. I'm not sure. But either way, Skurlock's going to lead them. They're too wide. I thought they were about to go green, but they're not. The pace truck very much still with the lights on there, and the lights are out now, so it's going to be one to go to a green. Everybody just formed up a little bit early, but looks as though we've got a few guys with decent runs there tonight. Aidan Schultz, he's up there in the top 5 at the moment, and I've had a bit of a chat with Aidan a couple of times during the season so far. I've been saying to him that you need to stay out of that lower mid pack if you're going to stay clear of the incidents that he's had. And he's up there at the moment, so he needs to keep that position. He needs to stay up there and run around the guys at the front. He's going to have a much better chance of surviving up there versus down the back.
We'll get set to go, and I think Skurlock here has already gone. He has his bolted, and Urquio there asleep at the wheel, you might say, because he's bolted out, already half a second in front. Urquio there battling with Stephen Williams, the silent assassin. He's moved himself up into 3rd position. Just heard there someone with heavy impact into the wall in the back there. Couldn't quite see who that was, but there's certainly some damage further back in the pack. Might have been one of the Simboys guys getting up into the wall there, seeing them in that higher line. But it is Michael Skurlock who leads away. Lachlan Urquio in 2nd. Steve Williams up 2 spots into 3rd. Ruben Phelps, he is running 4th, with Aidan Schultz up 10 spots into 5th. Troy Davis in 6th. We've got Christopher Finlay 7th. Matty Raymond in 8th. Justin Howe in 9th position, and Cade Donnelly up 3 spots into the top 10.
Yeah, you see now how Skurlock's just running a little bit higher on entry, not as high as the 42 is, and you would have seen the way in which off that restart, Stephen Williams managed to get to the inside, but he was kind of pinched on that bottom line, and Aquijo's managed to be able to just get on the throttle a bit earlier. He was off those bumps. He didn't have to modulate the throttle or anything like that. He was just able to stamp it and pull away out of the turn, which is why he sits there in P2 at the moment. And we're seeing the exact same thing happen now between Phelps and Williams. Williams with that higher line, Phelps trying to get it done on the bottom, and just nothing he could do being down on those bumps. And he's just managed to settle in now behind Stephen Williams, and will probably just consolidate before having another go.
As Luke Traher enters pit lane, so that's an unscheduled stop for him. Just trying to look to get some damage repaired perhaps. That was him up into the wall at the restart.
Right, okay, so that's going to definitely drop him out of contention. And we've got, I think, Matt Knight coming down the lane. He's already 3 laps down, so that may have just been a drive-through, actually. Didn't look as though he stopped.
Maybe for speeding into pit lane.
Potentially. But it looks as though the field's fairly well settled down at the moment. Everyone's sort of single file and just getting themselves underway, finding what they've got to work with before actually getting too stuck into anybody. But Skurlock pulling away. He's got a 1.3 second lead now. And with Gallagher gone, seems to have the pace over just about everybody else out there.
Excuse the naivety, Ed, in that Steve Williams, obviously champion-elect. We mentioned at the top of the broadcast there, his first ANZCAR championship win in a truck series, despite being considered a veteran. Does that entitle him then to run the 1 like it does in circuit racing, or none of that exists in NASCAR?
No, that doesn't exist at all. So the 1 is just a number like all others. The Phil Otto has the number 1 in ANZCAR. That's been his number for a long, long time. And there's certainly no number for a champion or anything like that. That's very much a European thing.
Fair enough. There you go. So he will continue to run 98 in the seasons to come. And does that earn? I know he runs in the Cup Series anyway, but that would generally earn him does it earn him a guaranteed spot in the Cup Series, or?
No, there's no real crossover between we've got another caution actually, so we will come back to that. Just have to quickly scroll around and see. Aaron Dillon. Okay, so, well, he's been involved in both of them tonight, hasn't he?
Jump back on board with Aaron Dillon here and have a look at the replay. It's a solo accident, and wow, and his teammate there. Oh, Jesus, and the smoke model there just catching people out too, but that truck is gone. And Aaron Dillon will be on the bench for the rest of this evening. I didn't see which of his teammates it was there who just managed to avoid him.
Wellman, I think it was, but that's what happens, unfortunately, when ambition outweighs adhesion. You wind up facing the wrong way, and that's unfortunate for him. The motor belching a lot of horrible black smoke there in the pits, and that's going to be night done for Mr. Dillon.
just going to jump on board here on the cockpit of Gary Wellman. You can see there, Dylan's on his way across the track. He's got nowhere to go, just manages to avoid him by clipping the wall. And in doing so, gets himself all out of shape, but just manages to pick it back up. Good job, Gary Wellman, to keep that one in some semblance of order as he avoided that accident of his teammate in the 45.
All right, so it's pretty much as you were at the front. Everyone's just settling in behind the pace car at the moment. Skurlock, Aquillo, Williams, Phelps and Schultz, your top five. Justin Howe having a decent run up there in P6 as well with Davidson. Nathan Clark still giving a good account of himself after that fairly average start, sitting there in P8. So he's managed to put up somewhat of a recovery, and he's running solidly there at the moment as well. And P9, we've actually got Ben Vickers. I'd like to take a bit of a closer look at the number 77 truck, because I reckon that is a spectacular looking paint scheme. That matte orange with the chrome strips in it on the side of the truck. I reckon it looks fantastic.
As you just saw there, as he just drove around the corner and the light hit it and just transferred across that sort of chrome checkered flag that it's got on the side there, the Juice Digital car, looking spectacular. Look at that there as it just goes around the light. Just playing your teeth looking into that. Look at that. That was fantastic. Good pick. I haven't seen that one before either.
Yeah, I think he's actually done a little bit. He's been running the truck series since the beginning of the year, but I think he's actually may have updated that paint scheme. He always had the orange, but I think it's a little bit. I think he may have just added a few bits and pieces to it, because certainly it's the first time it's sprung out to me like it has tonight. I noticed it first of all in practice. I reckon it looks absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, great job. A lot of the drivers put a lot of time. There's companies out there that make deliveries, but a lot of the drivers have take a lot of pride and time in doing deliveries themselves. You can see there just the detail too. I think it's actually got a Southern Cross on it as well, just before the rear wheel. So fantastic little delivery. Plenty of time put into that one, which we get to appreciate. So probably on top for car of the night, Ben Vixen. It's looking relatively straight as well. Currently running in 9th position, so up 11 spots from qualifying. He is in a good spot as we're on at lap 45. Of course, still under caution here. Oh, a little bump there from the 78 into the back of Aidan Schultz under yellow. So we go green again. We are indeed.
Still happening too. It's still happening. He's really riding the rear bumper of Schultz there. And Schultz, was it actually Schultz? I think it might have actually been Phelps. I'm sorry.
Sorry, my apologies. It was Phelps.
It was Phelps. Yeah, I'm so used to seeing Schultz in the Mark 1 truck, but yeah, he's changed teams more times than I've changed socks this year, so it's a little bit hard to keep up with it all. But yeah, certainly a nice clean start there. I think the only two trucks side by side at the moment are Vickers and Mirko Dortnack, and Donnelly looking for a piece of the action down there on the low line as well.
Yeah, Mirko's truck looking extraordinarily second-hand at the moment, and he'll probably get consumed by. I don't think he stopped on the last caution. Sorry, the caution before this one. He stayed out and got the wave through, so he'll get eaten up here by Donnelly, who's on much younger rubber than Mirko is.
So yeah, that's definitely going to put him at a bit of a disadvantage. What a lot of people who aren't familiar with the stock cars, they don't realise is just how much tyre fall off you get. And just because you've got these heavy cars with those sustained G-forces through the turns, it's not uncommon to lose 2 seconds a lap in 30 laps of running around an oval. It's just the way it is, and even on the road courses, the wear's pretty bad. So you do get a lot of tyre fall off, and teams, when they set their cars up, actually deliberately set them up to be good on a short run or a long run, because you never have both. It's always sort of trying to guess exactly what they're expecting from the race and what kind of car they want to have.
In the distraction of everything that's been going on, I've just noticed that Paul Carwithy has limped into the infield care centre, so I'm just going to drag him over to the commentary box here. Just want to make sure he's okay and that he's not too hurt. Carl, joined us back in the booth, mate, a little quicker than you probably expected.
Yeah, hey guys, how's it going? Technical failure, unfortunately.
Oh, really? Oh, that's not good at all. What happened? Drop out of steering equipment or something?
Well, I was testing out my VR setup I've been trying it out a few times, a few different races, and tonight it decided to completely fail on me. The drivers failed just as I came back out of pit lane that first time round, as I was in front of Skirley, and had to do a bit of quick thinking, chuck the VR off, and sort of look at the screen that luckily had enough information on that I could get in the pit lane.
Well, that's disappointing as well, particularly given you're running a new VR and having a run in the trucks trying to finish off the season. So you have to have a look and have a go again.
As always, it worked perfectly in testing, and a couple of Skip Barber races I ran in. As soon as I ran it tonight, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. So that was just perfect, really. I'm just glad I didn't affect anyone else's race, really.
Absolutely, as we've spoken about before, a failure of your equipment, just like in the real world. So it happens. Oh, wow, as Mirko gets really loose there, coming out of turn 2. Just managing to catch it there just behind Nathan Clark, who we're on board with at the moment. Raymond up in front of him, up 15 spots, so he's having a cracking night as well, just managing to keep to himself.
Yeah, he is. There's a few guys out there driving quite sensibly, and there's a few guys being really super aggressive. But I'll tell you what, that VR stuff is always more trouble than it's worth in my experience. And but if that's, hopefully you get it sorted, mate, and hopefully you get a chance to come out and run in a few more races next season.
Yeah, here's hoping. I mean, I might stick to the commentary booth for a bit longer, but hopefully I'll get all of the little bits taken out, all of the little bugs and things like that fixed in there, because when it actually worked, it worked very well. My first couple of laps in practice were very, very fun in it, if not a little bit scary in the smoke. A little bit terrifying at times there, but yeah, hopefully we'll manage to get everything working and get back out on track sometime next season.
All right, well, thanks very much.
Have a good night, lads.
As Mirko, he is doing his best to do a Days of Thunder and make sure there isn't a straight panel left on that car, just running right along the wall there. So just having a chat with Carl Whiffy, who will be back on the airwaves tomorrow night. As there's a spin in the background there, I think it was Dwayne Priest who I might have caught going around. It was indeed, and that has a very, very second-hand rear end on that one. He's going to try and flick that one around, and just have to watch out for the suicidal pace truck coming through. But he's just flung that one around in what looked like a single car accident. Let's have a look back at it.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a rough night, Dwayne. He was looking pretty good in practice, and he qualified quite well right up there on the third row. But he hasn't had one single lap of kindness tonight, unfortunately. And he's managed to find the wall there, which is unfortunate for him. And it's going to drop him right down to the tail end of the field as we see the leaders come in as well. We've got Skurlock, Aquijo, Williams, everybody down the lane.
Looks like there he might have actually been helped out a little bit by Brad Allison. I'm just going to jump back on again, have a look at that from another view. No, in fact, we just caught it at the end there. Apologies to Brad Allison. He's already on his way around. There's nothing he can do about that. And he's just managed to make his way through. But that is unfortunate for Priest. He's not having the night we normally see from him.
Yeah, I mean, he's one that's really sort of come along in the last, I'd say, 6 months to 12 months. Very, very improved. He's always was fast, but he used to struggle a little bit to get the consistency to go along with it. And he's actually really improved a lot in the last 12 months, say. And yeah, it's unfortunate to see his at least his chance at a good result in like that, because he's, like I say, he has been on the improve, and he has had some really good results there. So, and he's doing a lot of oval racing now. You know, he's always in the cup and he's doing the trucks, and I'm sure he'll show up to just about anything else we put on as well. So, you know, yeah, so I think that extra, you can call it race fitness if you like, or something like that, is actually paying off for him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very much about time in the seat. No different again to the real world. It's interesting, just hearing Carl talk about VR there. I must admit, I find VR on oval track racing, a hindrance rather than a help, as opposed to circuit racing, because you really need that peripheral vision. And obviously my experience is very limited in oval track, but I really struggled to just know where the cars are next to you. You can't see a damn thing out of the VR without turning your head sideways. You can't do that while you're nose to tail with the car in front of you. So I'll be interested to see how he goes making the transition. Some swear by it, some don't. I'm certainly moving away from it for any future racing that I do to go back to the monitors. So each to their own.
Yeah, I suppose I get motion sickness quite terribly, so I'll stay away from them for just that reason. But if you have a look at all the pros, Coke Series, whatever, quite often they have cameras set up so you can see them driving, and there's not one there with VR, as far as I recall anyway. So I think the technology's good. It's going to be great in the future. I don't necessarily think, this is my own personal view, that it's quite ready yet. Seem to see a lot of people having little glitches and stuff with it as well, which obviously has a bit of a negative impact on them. But it looks as though Brad Allison's actually assumed the lead here. So
he has indeed.
Yeah, he stayed out, so that's put Skurlock to the outside. He's going to want to not accelerate too early. He's gone just sort of there, but you see how Skurlock got away really well on the outside, and that's because Allison would have had to feed the power in. He couldn't just stomp on his old tyres. And Aquijo's gotten right up into the back of him, sent Allison around, and that is going to bring out another caution.
Jump back and forward and have a look at that from the front of Aquijo's car. You might be spot on there. Allison will be furious.
He won't be happy.
At that, I can well imagine.
I was just trying to have a look there to see if Allison bobbled or something like that, or got a bit loose, lost momentum, and it didn't seem like he did. It just seems like perhaps he didn't get off the corner as well as Aquijo wanted him to, and he's just basically gone straight through him, unfortunately. So you quite often see that in official racing when somebody's on old tyres at the front, but not so often in the league. Usually everybody sort of knows each other, and you've got quite a bunch of experienced guys around you. So a little bit unusual to see that. I don't think Allison did anything particularly wrong. He's just been tagged, unfortunately, there in the rear, and round he goes.
Yeah, definitely that back right-hand corner, getting a bit of a paid visit by the left-hand front corner of Aquijo's truck, and around he went. So we'll be on the radio to him, just giving him some words of wisdom.
Yeah, there might be a character reference or two out there, but certainly you can sort of understand, go from first to last. Nobody likes doing that, and Allison's now going to have to gather it up. He's got a little bit of damage on the front of that truck as well, which isn't going to help him. These trucks very, very sensitive to any damage on those fenders on either side, and I think Bradley's got damage on at least one side, if not both. I think he's got a bit of wriggle on his left side, so that's going to slow him down, and he was pretty well immaculate until that point. So that's not been the best couple of laps for Allison, and I'm pretty sure he would have definitely expected to drop back. I don't think you would have seen him fighting the leaders too hard, knowing that they were on fresh rubber. But certainly he was probably looking to just kind of hold on as best as he could, and just when the tyre wear starts to plateau, maybe he would have had the opportunity to make a net gain out of that. But unfortunately, that's all gone now. And looks as though there's a little bit going on under caution between Allison and Preece as well, a little bit of nudging going on. I thought I saw that earlier on, but I wasn't 100% sure. But it looks as though there's a little bit of nudging going on between the two of them under caution. So not quite sure what that's about. But anyway, there you go.
I'm sure it will be addressed. Race admins, of course, don't tolerate that sort of tomfoolery.
No, they don't.
We'll see what comes of it, but certainly during the last caution we saw just some bumping. It was significant enough that it noted on our control panel here, which lets us know of things that had happened, which is what drew my attention to it. But see what comes of it, if anything. Last race of the season, there may be a little bit of retribution being made for things past. Keep an eye on the race. We're trying to look for the trucks here that are still straight, and there's fewer of them than there are the ones that are bent, so it's relatively easy to pick out. 78 there.
So about to go green. Skurlock jumps real early. He obviously doesn't want Aquijo anywhere near his outside, and looks as though Williams has got down the inside again. Is he going to be able to press that advantage, or is he just going to? He's just going to back out of it. And Aquijo with Howe there. Howe really pushing his luck there, cutting down on Steve Williams. But he gets it done, gets away with it. And Howe's been really aggressive tonight, actually, and he's kind of running that higher line, avoiding those bumps, getting the power on nice and early, cutting down on the exit, which is very similar to what we saw Skurlock doing earlier on. So that's probably he's got some good pace here tonight, Howe. So we'll see what he does.
Of course, running a ute that is undamaged as well, so that helps. 42's got a little bit of war damage on the front of it. Skurlock's truck pristine. So is Steve Williams. So he's doing a good job here to put the press on as well. So if we can just maintain that for an extended green period here, if we can get it.
Yeah, definitely. Skirley's weird, you know. He kind of gets into these purple patches of form where he just can do no wrong, and it seems as though he's in one at the moment. He's won the last 2 cup races. He's the only driver still in the hunt for the Grand Slam. Comes out for a truck race tonight. He's out front on his own. Seems to have the pace on everybody else, and he just hits these streaks quite often mid-season, mid-year, somewhere like that, where he just clicks off the wins and could do no wrong. And it just seems as though it's happened again. And he's looking very, very comfortable out there at the front. Howe now just getting down underneath Aquijo, who gets loose up top, manages to catch it, and Howe's gone through to second place. Williams going to try and press it down the bottom. Looks as though he's going to get back up to third, and that sends Aquijo back down to P4.
Just getting a little loose there. Justin Howe will be thanking his lucky stars that didn't hit a little bit further back, sort of hitting wheel to wheel there, and didn't push him too far out of control. A completely different story if it was a little bit further back. Williams taking advantage. He's now up into third.
Yeah, he's having another solid race, Stephen Williams. This is exactly the kind of driving that got him this championship. So sitting there in P3, looking as though he's on course for another good haul of points, not like he needs them. But he's, doing quite well up there. The Aquijo just sort of recovering. He looks as though he's coming under a little bit of pressure from Ruben Phelps now. Maybe the damage on that truck is actually just whatever little bit of damage he got. Actually looks as though it's probably hurting him because he has not got the pace that he had a few laps ago before that contact. And he's got Phelps looking at the back of him, Clark's there, Matthew Raymond, we haven't even talked about him tonight, but he's there as well. So Aquijo is going to have his work cut out for him to keep those guys behind.
Yeah, Matty Raymond up 14 positions, so increasing his haul when we last saw him. As again, Phelps, my apologies, Aquijo very, very loose there as he just shot across the face of the camera. Phelps has got the job done past him. My apologies. Nathan Clark's not going to waste too much time either. You wouldn't have thought, but that truck at 42 quite loose at the moment, so he's paying the penalty. Just looking to see when he stopped last. So he stopped with the group on lap 60, so no issue with tyres there in comparison to the cars around him. Let's just say just that damage maybe just taking a toll.
Yeah, it looks as though it is. I'd imagine that he's just... That's the thing as well in these stock cars. When you actually get it loose once, it heats up those rear tyres, and if you don't put a little bit of effort into cooling them down and keeping the car straight, if you just kind of drive on the way that you have been, it's going to use that heat, lose grip, keep sliding, keep building up that heat. You're just going to find yourself getting looser and looser and looser, and you can see the tail of that 42 wagging again off the turn. And I'm not sure if that's damage related, but it really does look as though perhaps Lockie could benefit from just calming it down, just resettling that rear end, and then get him on with it. And if he loses a couple of spots in the process, that's life. You've just got to, because if you keep pushing on and heating them up and sliding the car and heating them up, you're going to wind up facing the wrong way before too long.
Yeah, as you say, just keeps pushing to try and maintain that position and actually penalise yourself while you're doing it. So a little bit of a slide there. The 6 there of Nathan Clark as he just gets up into the wall. So he maybe has the same issue of just pushing a little hard there. Matty Raymond running very well behind them, so they're probably, even though there's a small gap emerging, feeling the pressure still. There's the Raymond 83 tries to make its way through. Hayden Schultz up 7 positions. He's got Ben Vickers right behind him in that awesome livery that we did have a look at earlier on. Vickers in a very clean looking truck, so he's well placed. We've still got a good 44 laps to go. Schultz gets a little loose there on the entry. Allows Ben Vickers down underneath. So he'll be putting on the run, but plenty of pressure on the back of the Crank Esports 52 entry of Aidan Schultz.
Yeah, but Aidan's just got to keep it calm at this point. And not... The thing about stock car racing in general is there's not a lot to be gained by pushing harder. Definitely road racing, that's kind of your instinct, isn't it? You know, you get in a battle with somebody and all of a sudden it's very aggressive and you push harder and you try and maximise every little thing. In this, there's really no point doing that. You can't allow yourself to get too flustered, especially at this stage of the race. There's still a good number of laps to go. And if you've got a guy all over your rear bumper and it looks as though he's quicker than you, just let him go. It's going to potentially come back to you later. And, I mean, it's an oval track. The whole thing's a passing zone. You're not going to be able to keep a guy behind you for 50-odd laps or 40 laps or whatever if he's got a decent amount of pace. You're just prolonging the inevitable, burning up your tyres for no good reason. So if he is coming under that pressure from behind, he's probably just best off, although it looks as though Vickers has had a little bit of a moment just trying to get underneath him and has fallen off for now. But, there's no point potentially wrecking yourself for 7th or 8th place. Not right now.
Still too far out. Still to go. So that's Michael Skirl. He's 1.4 seconds to the good now. See Justin now just behind him. Steve Williams another 1.5 behind. Ruben Phelps another second behind that. So Skirl here just able to manage things as he sees fit.
Yeah, he's definitely managing the pace at the moment. He's just kind of holding Howe at arm's length. And he's coming up to a little bit of lap traffic as well, which could present a little bit of a problem if those two are going to be battling. It shouldn't do. Brad Allison's 3 laps down at the moment and not really racing Koch there. So it looks as though Allison's trying to get by, but both these guys should be aware that the leader's coming up on them. No rule that says you've got to get out of the way, but it's good etiquette, because if the roles are reversed at some race in the future, you're going to want a little bit of courtesy from the other guy. So you don't want to give him any reason to try and get any payback on you later on. These guys have long memories about that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine they do. There's just space made there by Tristan. Just lets Michael get through nice and easily. Make his way around. As you say, coming up on the back of Brad Allison in the number 3 Chevy Silverado 03. It's the right vernacular, 03.
Yeah, 03, 03, all of the above. Just having a look back now, Equijo hasn't actually fallen any further. He's still there in the top 5. We saw Phelps getting around him, but he's got now Nathan Clark behind. So it looks as though he's managed to, as I say that, he gets a bit of a tail wag again. Looks as though he just managed to settle that truck down and get some good race pace back in it. Remember, of course, there's plenty of pace in that truck because it was the pole sitter, but it's a little bit wounded now, and he just seems to be struggling to exit the turn when he's on that real high line. You remember the first time that he got loose, he was actually on the outside of another car, came off the turn on the high line, and that's when the back end snapped on him the first time.
Huge slide there, yeah. So just up in the wall. And that's meant Nathan Clark in the 6 is able to get down the inside of him. This is where, as you say, he just needs to let off a bit. Still 32 laps to go. And
that was close.
See way more damage now on that right-hand front corner.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this night's all turning south for him, and he's just he's still trying to drive it hard off the turns, and for whatever reason, the truck is not liking it. It's not liking driving off the turn on that high line. It just doesn't seem to be working, so he's got to find another way, because it's just going to get worse the longer he keeps trying to do that. So I understand why he's taken that line. That is his preferred line. That's where he's wanted to run. But if the truck's saying no, eventually the truck's going to win. So maybe he just needs to possibly just switch it up a little bit and try a different line.
Those involuntary suspension adjustments that he's made mid-race maybe have committed him to that as he comes up behind the 550 of Tristan Cox, so a black car. Make his way past. Big slide there for Nathan Clark. Manages to hold that, but here we go, he's off.
Yeah.
And he's done. that is it. Lachlan Urquio, unfortunately, in a solo, has been battling that car. We've been on board with him while he's been doing so, and unfortunately it has bitten on lap 100.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but that had been coming for a number of laps.
We jump on board with him now, just on the exit of the turn, just on the gas, just got loose and fired it down into the infield wall, and we'll take that one back to pit lane and see if there's anything that the surgeon can do on that to get it fixed.
No, he's done. That thing's gone behind the wall. He's said goodnight. So we've seen all the leaders come down the pit road, though. Skurlock stopped well at his box, almost overshot, actually. He's right on the forward edge of that box. And he got in quite well. Looks as though Howe's in, Williams is in, Clark's in. Everybody's going to want to be in. We're on lap 102. We've only got 30 laps to go. So these guys are definitely going to be able to get to the end from here on both fuel and tyres. But it'd be a very, very brave man to bet against Skurlock for this one. Although, having Howe start right up behind, Justin's had some really good pace. You know, you've got to hand it to him. He only qualified in 11th. He has had some really good race pace in that truck. So, is he going to be able to do anything about Skurlock? Not on the evidence that we've seen so far. But, hey, you're starting side by side. Anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It only takes a good restart or a bad restart, and the whole complex of the race can change. So it is Michael Skurlock who will take us away again, having pitted Justin Howe, Stephen Williams, Ruben Phelps solidly in 4th position. Matty Raymond now in 5th, up 16 places. He's having a stellar night. Nathan Clark, my apologies, in 6th. Ben Vickers up into 7th. He's 13 spots up as well, so good run for him. Troy Davison 8th, Hayden Schultz in 9th, and Christopher Finlay will be restarting in 10th when the lights go out on the pace truck, which will be in a lap also.
I tell you what, Matty Raymond quite often doesn't get the credit he deserves, I don't think. He's always very solid, very sensible. I mean, the truck, as far as I can tell from what I'm looking at, is absolute pristine. It's one of the only ones on the track like that. You rarely see him spinning off and making mistakes, getting into situations of his own making, and he invariably moves forward in races as well. And he tends to fly under the radar a little bit, certainly as far as the broadcasts and the headlines are concerned. But he always does a very solid job, and he's proving that again tonight.
Yeah, I was just trying to have a look there, and of course he's currently sitting in 3rd in the championship. The man in front of him is in 4th, so they're dueling it out as it sits at the moment, though. Matty Raymond will take 3rd. He's not had a race win. He's had 2 top 5s, and he's had 5 top 10 finishes, and that's all you need to accumulate the points to get into 3rd place. I was also looking, Stephen Williams, only 1 race win, but a mammoth 6 top 5 positions, and that was good enough for him to take out the championship here as we get back underway. And it is Michael Skurlock leading away. He's had another ripping start here. Justin Howe's gone with him. He's very high in the line there. 98 is Steve Williams. Down in the load line, Ruben Phelps makes his way past. There's a car shot out down in the back there. I'm not sure who that was. Might have been Hayden Schultz. Just getting really loose down in towards the wall.
Yeah, now's the time when you're going to see guys start to push forward. I mean, Howe's really driving it in there quite deep. I imagine that he's probably going to burn off the right front if he keeps driving in there as deep as he is. But at the same time, the trucks do seem to be tending more towards loose tonight, so that might actually not penalise him that badly. He's still sticking within half a second of Skurlock, but really kind of running up the track and driving much more of a diamond than Skurlock. I can't really tell from here.
Big slide in the background there. Sorry, Troy Davison's gone around in the background. Going to have another caution period.
That's a shame. He was up there in the top 10. He was running P7, having a really good race. So just having a look to see if he got a little bit of help. And it looks as though he's actually had a bit of a come together with Schultz. But I think he's actually sort of... I wouldn't want to be doing the stewarding on that one. It looks as though, just coming through the turn there, they were very close to one another. Schultz on the bottom. It looks as though he's tried to come down and get across in front of Schultz. It looks as though he almost pretty much made it too. And then for some reason, he's just started to, I don't know if he bobbled on a bump or whatever, but he's just suddenly lost a bit of ground to Schultz, and Schultz has gone straight in the back of him, and around he's gone. But that's a very line ball one as far as figuring out who the responsibility rests on for that. And unfortunately, Vic is in that beautiful 77, gone straight into the back of Schultz as well.
I was just about to say the most disappointing news of the night is that Ben Vickers' truck has sustained some damage just on the front there. He had nowhere he could go, so that car no longer in showroom condition.
No, certainly not. So either way, he'll continue on. He'll probably take a little bit of the edge off of his performance. He's got Donnelly behind him, who's had a solid night as well. So Finley's back there. He's had a solid night. And is that Luke Trahere back there? What am I looking at?
Yeah, it is Luke Trahere down in 14th spot. He, at the moment, is 3 laps to the negative.
Yeah, okay, so he's not going to be going any further forward from here. Unfortunate for him, he got caught up a little bit earlier on. We've got 13 trucks on the lead lap, and with the retirement of Equijo, we've actually only got 16 trucks left in the race. So that's quite a high amount of retirements, considering we had 23 started, and we're on lap 107 at the moment. So yeah, a bit of carnage tonight. Started out all very clean and very courteous, but it hasn't wound up that way. And have a look at Howe at the moment. He is just trying to apply maximum pressure, even under caution, to Skurlock. He was right up there, just on the rear bumper of Skurlock, just being, okay, mate, you wait until we get to green next time. I'm coming. We'll see if he's able to carry through on that once the green flag comes out again. We've got just over 15 laps to go. I think we'll have 15 laps to go by the time we go green.
Brad Allison out as well, so 15 remaining now to be the highest attrition I think we've seen all season. So it's going to be a close finish here. Justin Howe just moving up on the outside, getting it ready. Yeah, let's go out on the pace truck, go around one more time, but he will be on maximum attack mode when the lights go green. So Skurlock's had this one pretty much all to himself so far, but he will have to face the baptism on his way through if he's going to get another truck win this season. And Justin Howe doing everything he can to make sure that doesn't actually happen. And of course, you can't throw out Ruben Phelps, Nathan Clark behind, Stephen Williams, of course, and Matty Raymond, who's had a very strong run. So I think at this stage, any of the top 6 could take the podium. Skurlock, as you said, you'd have to be a brave man as he gets underway on the low side, on the bumps, gets a run and gets on it as early as he can. And Justin Howe's gone with him, so they will resume their battle at the front. Nathan Clark on the outside there, Ruben Phelps in 3rd position. You've got Steve Williams on the low side, 2 wide, with Matty Raymond as well, and Aidan Schultz just behind them. As we've got 16 to go here, and Howe putting the pressure on the back of Michael Skurlock.
Now, just have a look at Stephen Williams right now, and you will find your answer as to why he has won this championship. He got down the inside of Raymond. He had Raymond on the outside pushing hard. Did he dive it in there under brakes, wash up the track? No. He gave Raymond plenty of room on the outside, didn't overdrive the car, didn't slide the car, nothing like that, and is now just slotted in behind Raymond, and I'm sure he'll have an opportunity to perhaps have a dig at him a little bit later on. That attitude and that style of driving is what has won him this title.
Yeah, absolutely. Trademark of his performance this season. As you just see there, Kate Donnelly having a go down the inside of Aidan Schultz, not quite able to get that done. It is the battle for 7th and 8th at the moment. Ben Vickers just tucked in behind them. Haven't said too much about Kate Donnelly tonight, just kept himself clean. Just a little further down than we're used to seeing him. At the moment applying pressure to the back of the Crank Esports 52 of Aidan Schultz. Ben Vickers right behind him. Still relatively close up the front here. Matty Raymond and Stephen Williams, I should say. Battling for 5th and 6th. There's a change there. Kate Donnelly gets the job done on Aidan Schultz.
Yeah, just while that's going on, I've just been having a look at Skurley. He has cleared out the front, leaving Howe in his wake, really. And Phelps, I wouldn't count him out for P2 yet. That truck is absolutely, as it rolled out of the showroom, not a mark on it anywhere, and he's had some good pace all night. He's actually had some really good pace for the last few weeks in just about whatever he's driven, so I wouldn't count him out for a run at... he is running out of laps. It's only just coming on 10 to go now, but I wouldn't rule him out for a decent shot at P2.
Yeah, he had a really good run at the Super Speedway Talladega on Thursday as well, so he's in good driving form, a little bit like Skurlock, just hasn't been able to quite convert into the W's, but he's been very, very consistent.
Yeah, that win's not far away, though. I can guarantee it. If he keeps driving like he is, he's going to be quite good. As we see Raymond and Nathan Clark just having a little bit of a discussion about the potential changing of hands of that fourth position. Raymond just sort of ranging up on the back of Clark there and just trying to fill his mirrors. He did get alongside. It looks as though he's got a fair bit more. He's got a fair bit more mid-corner speed than Clark does at the moment. That might usually when there's a mid-corner discrepancy like that, it's tyre related. But that being said, it looks as though Raymond may have just overcooked the rears a little bit there. It just seems as though he got a bit of wheel spin coming out of that turn, but certainly mid-corner to off, he's got the advantage over the six.
And Steve Williams, as I said, just biding his time, jogging on the spot there, and he's right back up on the back of Matty Raymond as well, so he's heavily involved in this battle again, and just managing his race reasonably well, sixth position.
Yeah. And while we've been talking, Aiden Schultz has lost a couple of spots, and he's dropped a couple down, and he's actually really lost a ton of ground on both Vickers and Donnelly, who's been the big mover of that group. He's up P7 now, and potentially looking at closing up on Stephen Williams there to have a look at sixth. But Vickers certainly not suffering too much from that damage on the front end of that Ford. He's just hanging with Donnelly. He got overtaken by him, but he's certainly not being left behind. So he's going okay. He's trundling along. He'll make the end.
The gap here is just second, but as you say, Ruben Phelps just running out of laps, I think, to get anything done here. So it does look like Justin Howe might be safe. Of course, anything can happen, but looks like Justin Howe will be safe in second if nothing causes us to have to say take a caution period or something like that, which we always enjoy, but I'm sure the guys at the front there will be looking forward to just nice clean laps for the next 3 laps to go round out this season.
Yeah, Skurlock's just managing it now. I think he's allowed the gap to come down to Howard behind. I think he's reasonably confident he can keep Howard arm's length. I don't think he wants to take too much out of his tyres just in case we get a caution out. But one more turn for him, we're going to get the white flag, and there's no more chance of a caution after that. Well, white will mean we're going to stay green until we come home. And there is the white flag. Skurlock takes the white, just about half a second ahead of Howe, just over that. And looks as though that is how they're going to finish. The positions behind still under a bit of dispute, but looks as though Skurley's going to tuck this one away for his third win in a couple of weeks. Excellent work, Michael Skurlock, across the line to win it.
Takes it out here. There's a little bit of a dispute going on a bit further back. Seeing who's there. They bring it across the line. So it does finish Skurlock with Justin Howe bringing home second position, and Ruben Phelps parked that one straight in the trailer. They'll be ready for next season in third place. Good run from both of them. Stick on board here with Michael Skurlock, who's going to paint the ground black and do so in fine style. Another very well-deserved win for him here, and he finishes the season in the style that you would want to.
It looks as though Steve Williams coming out to partake in those burnouts. Series champion, of course. Nothing worth a penalty point tonight, so he'll wrap up that championship. Fantastic work from him. Who else is notable tonight? Nathan Clark there, 4th place for such a new driver. That's fantastic work. Donnelly getting up there to 7th place. Ben Vickers driving through from 20th for an 8th place finish. Aiden Schultz managed to survive, had a couple of hairy moments, but he came home in 9th. So there's some really good drives out there, really good results, but none better than the man in the 350 who's still sitting there trying to make ribbons out of those tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just parked it up against the wall there, just gone the old lazy, and he pops the motor in that one. Steve Williams still getting the job done, but he has taken it inside. So let's bring up on screen here the results for tonight. Did get the rundown there of the top 10. Have a look at the full field, of course. not that many finishing this one out, unfortunately, tonight. Rate of attrition really high, but Michael Skurlock there, just on screen, taking out the race win, followed by Justin Howe and Ruben Phelps. Congratulations on the podiums. Got Nathan Clark, Matty Raymond, Steve Williams, Kate Donnelly, Ben Vickers, Aidan Schultz, and Christopher Finlay rounding out our top 10 with Troy Davison, Gary Wellman, Dwayne Priest, the last of the drivers on the lead lap, followed by Luke Trahair, Tristan Koch, and he was the last of our finishers with Brad Allison, Lachlan Aquisio, Murkow Doubtnack. We also had Aaron Dillon, Matty Knight, Carl Withy, and Hamish Gallagher not finishing out this one. So a fair few surprises there, and we'll just try and grab a number of the drivers. They're all just populating back into the green room where they've all decided it's a great warm place to take up refuge in the room outside the combox.
Just before you do, we've actually had Aquigio sitting down there in the infield care centre for a while too, so I didn't know if you just wanted to grab him really quickly to see, although he's just jumped out actually. It looks like they've just sent him away, so that's all right. We can jump through to the top three and have a chat.
We're just bringing them all in now. It's always a challenge to just make sure that they're actually all there before we try and bring them in. We're just waiting. Oh no, Ruben's jumped in now.
Maybe bring in our champion Steve Williams as well for a bit of a chat. There we go.
Absolutely. So the booth's very, very full here. In fact, Steve Williams sitting on Skurlock's lap just out of courtesy. He's keeping him warm. So we'll jump in and we'll
he's always sitting on my lap.
Speak to them last, but we'll get Ruben Phelps first. Ruben, congratulations on yet another strong performance. Probably the cleanest truck out there other than Skurley's and Williams as well. Another great drive from you.
Yeah, I don't know about the cleanest truck, but it was definitely one of the runners anyway. But no, it was a good race. I literally had changed something just before qualifying because I was nowhere in practice, and then suddenly I made a little adjustment, and then suddenly I got the speed out of it where I wanted it, and it obviously kept moving, going so more, drove it harder and faster, and it just kept moving up positions every time I ran it.
Well, it certainly ran most of the night. Sorry, Ozzy, I thought Ed might have had a question or two there, but he's just letting me run things here. So sorry for the adequacy of the questions, but we'll press on. You had a really, really strong season this season. We were talking a lot on the commentary today about how much you've progressed across both the Truck Series and the Cup Series. So really looking forward to seeing how you get on in season 2. What do you think's been the key to that improvement?
I think just at this point I'm still obviously learning because I've only been on iRacing for maybe a year or just about basically a year. So just getting those little rookie errors, especially pit stops, that's usually where my errors are when it comes to coming in and either not getting in too hard and I'm being a little bit squealing the wheels coming out of the box. So I lose a lot of ground in there, but I think I've just got a bit too cautious. But once I finding the aggression and I can get myself a lot further up, but at the same time I've got to get those incidents down and then I'll be a lot more smarter.
Well, you've certainly impressed us with your driving. It's been something we've been commenting on right throughout the last few streams, and that will obviously help you finish 4th in the championship, a really, really strong result for this season, and obviously gives you a lot of promise going into season 2, which will start in just a couple of weeks' time. So congratulations to you. As usual, in that fantastic looking livery that you've got on there, just run through your sponsors.
But I've got to thank Mark One Esports for allowing me to be a part of the team. Of course, I go to give a shout out to Mum because she usually sits there and watches me as I go. So shout out to Mum. And then other than that, thanks to Curtis, Riley Curtis, to allowing me to join the team. And David, Everett Douglas and all them allowing me to be a part of it. So it's all good.
No, absolutely an asset, and we look forward to seeing how you go in a couple of weeks' time when season 2 kicks off. Ruben Phelps, 3rd place this evening. We'll move on to Justin Howe. Justin, 2nd place here tonight. You had a lot of pace. You were making your way assertively, shall we say, through the field, but just not quite able to match Skirley there. But a really, really good drive for second.
It was a very heartful drive. I downloaded the track tonight and was absolutely no in practice as well. Couldn't crack into the 10, so that's I was getting a bit down there, but all the cards fell my way, and Skirley's definitely he's got it all bolted together, hasn't he? He's nice and smooth and doesn't make mistakes. I had a couple of little drift sessions on the high side sometimes, but it's awesome race. I actually expected it to be a bit messier than what it was, but ended up being a really good season, a really good round for me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a tough track, particularly if you've only just downloaded it before the session tonight. So you just loaded up a setup, did you, and had a crack in practice?
It's fixed setup, so thank goodness for that, because I'd be absolutely nowhere in this circle stuff without a setup. I'd be loosening wheel nuts, not jacking it, or whatever they do with them, mate. Yeah, got no idea. So thankfully it's a fixed setup, but I did change my steering ratio a bit and my degrees on the wheels just to try and find that happy medium, and it seemed to work for me. Yeah, the brake bias is a really, really, really important key to that as well. Got that to the happy place, and it wasn't the best when it was on the light fuel, but it was pretty good when it was on a full tank.
Fantastic. And just as the usual, as we say, the shopping list. Anyone do you want to thank for your racing?
Just like to thank me supporters, Hot Toddy's Heating Installs, Coffee Mugs Commander, and obviously all the boys at the Lads Racing team for bringing me on. I jumped on iRacing 18 months ago or something now, and it's just been really good to join this ANZCAR league. I have a lot of fun, and appreciate the guys allowing us to run, and I'd also like to thank FGM eCar, so you guys put on a good show, and appreciate all the efforts that go into showcasing ANZCAR trucks.
Never a problem at all, and thank you for that. A good, well-earned, I should say, second place for Justin Howe. Congratulations for your finish tonight.
Just one other thing, sorry, wanted to congratulate Skurlock and Ruben. Had a good hard one with Ruben there for a while, so it was a good time. But congratulations on those guys for their championship and driving tonight.
Yeah, cheers, man.
And Skirley, over to you, mate. Everything you touch at the moment, it's like the golden rainbow. You just running extraordinarily well. Ed was talking purple during the stream. And just another really, really strong performance tonight, mate.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about purple. Edward knows I don't like that.
Well, we said purple patch. If you say the entire phrase, it sounds a lot better than just.
Yeah, man. I'm just gonna say Mirko did it. So Mirko is the reason. Just gonna give it that. Give it all to Mirko, my lucky little munchkin man. Come back on the team and haven't put a foot wrong, mate. So just give all the credit to him, I reckon.
No, fair enough. Nothing like passing the credit on to your teammate. You were just right at the top there talking actually about that you would have been thankful to Luke Trahere because you out-qualified him and fortunately, as a result, missed. There was a missed gear at the start of the race. We believe Nathan Clark might have missed the shift.
Weird happened there.
It bunched the pack back up, but you managed to avoid all of that and get away to a really strong start. So obviously the setup favoured your driving style.
Yeah, you just got to sort of be patient, let it roll around a bit. I did start getting worried though, as because like Lockie was going well at the start, and he was impressing me, and like I didn't even realise Justin was in the race, and like at Richmond, he gave me a hard time. So as something happened to Lockie, he moved out, and then slowly I hadn't even been looking at the relative or nothing like that. I was just doing laps and just talking, to be honest. And then I looked in that relative, and then I was like, not him, because like he's, when he was coming hard at me too, so I was like, oh no, it got me a bit tight, Then I started focusing in and trying to do everything properly, but you actually go better if you don't. To be honest, if you just relax and just let everything flow, it's a lot easier to repeat what you do lap after lap. But it's these short tracks when you're out front, it like really, it gets like you just turning left, and it actually starts like wearing on your brain a bit, when you haven't got cars in front of you. Like you just sort of the monotonous lap after lap. It was actually getting to me a bit.
Are you running VR?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. Because I find that generally on the shorter tracks, you end up sort of leaning into the left.
Oh, yeah. I get over, mate. Like I'm on a motorbike.
That's funny, isn't it? The good old leaning.
Yeah, I crank it.
It's ironic given the name of the team that you're in. Obviously a fantastic win for you there tonight, and just backs on to your performance on Thursday night. So congratulations for another strong win, and you'll be well and truly used to reeling off the sponsors by now.
Yeah, mate. Crank Esports, obviously. iRace Designs, FGM eCast. Thanks to you boys for putting it on. Everyone else that joins in tonight was pretty good. Nice. It wasn't too bad at all. I was a bit worried, thinking because the truck wasn't hard to drive, but these short tracks we've seen in the past can be a bit eventful. But no, it was good, man. Everyone was well behaved, and well done to Steve-O for pulling out the championship. Good on him.
Yeah, absolutely. And will we see you full season 221 in the trucks?
I can't remember why I didn't do it all season this year. Probably having some naps, mate. Getting that sleep in.
Getting your
good
beauty
sleep, mate.
on. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Well, we look forward to that. Look forward to you coming back and contesting. It's going to take some beating to get on top of this man, Steve Williams. Captain consistency, taking out season 1 2021 in the ANZCAR Truck Series. Congratulations, Steve. Obviously, you had it wrapped up last week, but another strong performance from you again this week, just showing why you've managed to get on top here and take out the championship.
Yeah, thanks for that. Well done to Skurlock, Justin and Ruben tonight. I don't think anyone really had anything for Skurlock, just cruising around in front. It was up to him to throw it away, really. But yeah, just staying out of trouble, that's the main thing. That's the only way I get the results.
Well, you finished the season with 11 top 10s, 6 top 5s, and a race win. So certainly well and truly doing exactly what you said. In fact, again, Ed just jumped on it during the race there, that you just quietly manoeuvre yourself up into the top 5 or 6, just ready to challenge as things get towards the pointy end of the race. Generally a clean truck as well, and tonight was no exception.
Yeah, no, I didn't really have anything in that last stint though. I think I went a little bit too hard and burned up the tyres and got stuck down in the inside line, and everyone just like a train around me. So yeah, it wasn't going to really go any better than what I finished tonight.
But equally, just in the management of the race there, you were in a contest, I think it might have been with Cade Donnelly at the time. Ben Vickers might have been just around you as well. And you sort of, I think, recognised the fact that Cade might have been a little quicker than you, or it might have even been Matty Raymond. And Ed was just remarking on how you're just aware of what's going on, and it's part of the reason why you are where you are. You don't end up, pushing too hard or getting too high and taking someone else out, and just managing your race. So obviously a big part of how you've been so consistent this season.
Yeah, you just got to learn when to battle and when to give up. Like sometimes it is worth, though, having a bit of a battle with them, hold them off. They end up pushing too hard, and then you can settle down again. But over the long run, it's probably best just to tuck in behind them and get them later.
Well, it certainly worked out for you this season. So again, Stephen Williams, congratulations on season 1 2021 champion. So he will go into next season as the one to beat. There's been plenty who've tried, but just that consistency's got you across the line. So congratulations. Any one that you want to thank?
Yeah, just ANZCAR, Ed and all the team in the background putting on the series and all the work that they do to put these things together. FGM Cast for coming on board now, doing all the streaming. And then, the simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, Benmax Mechanical, BetSmart Racing Services, NP Designs, and all the boys at DPR Racing.
Well, fantastic there. So Steve Williams, the champion in this round. Ed, for you, we generally talk about highlights for the night. So I put you on the spot here. Moment of the race.
The moment of the race, I think, happened really early. I think it was that issue that Clark had on the start, which broke the pack up and allowed Skurlock to really get a clean run through at Aquejo there. I think that really set the tone for the entire race. I think it could have been a much different story if that hadn't happened. Hamish Gallagher would have stuck around because he got caught up in that as well and kind of got race-ending damage from it. And he was probably the only one that I saw looking at practice that had the outright pace to give Skurlock a really good shake, and that incident took him out of the race. So if we're going to go for a moment of the night, that's mine.
Definitely for mine, in terms of driver of the night, Matty Raymond up 16 places. He had an extraordinarily clean run in a race relative to our normal races, a race of high attrition. Here tonight we had, I think, 7 or 8 drivers drop out as some of it from that early incident that you mentioned, but managed to keep his nose clean, finish in 5th position, and of course to Steve Williams for just incredible consistency. I think season 2 is going to be really, really interesting. Steve with his consistency, obviously Skurlock's moved into a period of really, really good form. Ruben Phelps coming on, Luke Trahair, who did finish 2nd in the championship there. He missed 2 rounds as well, and he did win 3 races during the season. So the series is in a really, really strong position that it's going to be really, really tight, I think, up the front, and those 1 or 2 points are really, really going to count.
Yeah, it really depends on who decides to run the series full time. Of course, there's a lot of very experienced Cup guys that don't normally run this season, or they kind of pick and choose races. There's obviously another series coming quite soon too, which is going to divert attention a little bit more. So first of all, we're going to have to look at who actually commits to running the truck series full time in season 2, and see if there's anybody there who's got the ability to match Williams on that consistency and the form that he's got in these trucks. Because to have the consistent top 5, top 10 finishes that he's had, it's very, very difficult even for the very best to beat that kind of thing. And that's why he's wound up with the championship, and why he was able to see out so many good drivers. So I think if he produces the same kind of form in the next season, he's going to be very hard to stop no matter who shows up, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's that awareness that we spoke about with Steve of just managing your race and understanding where you're going to finish rather than where you think you might finish with what's going on around you, and he's just mastered that. So only time will tell, as you say, with the new series coming up as well. We're going to have to see who does what. Number of drivers missing tonight too, so it's certainly poised to be really well. As a series going into season 2. So just echoing the comments there from a number of the drivers, Ed, not too many people. I know you're not directly involved with this one, and I'm sure you give a shout out to the guys who do set this series up, but a great series or season by ANZCAR in season 1. I don't think we've averaged less than 30 cars, trucks I should say, throughout this whole season 1.
Yeah, it's been great attendance. The retention of the field has been really, really good. Danny G's the one responsible for the truck series in the main. Of course, we all have input into how it goes, but he's the man with his neck on the line as far as things go, putting this one together. And he doesn't talk too much, Danny. He's quite quiet, so he doesn't probably get the recognition that he deserves. But he's put on a great series. This series, it's been fantastic throughout. worthy champion at the end. Lots of different winners, as we've seen across the board so far. And can't wait for season 2. I reckon it's going to be really good. I might even try and come out and run a couple of more. I only ran the one round this starting season. I might try and get out for a couple more in season 2 because it's been really good, really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Danny G, not running tonight, but a big thank you to you and to everyone who's joined us on the stream. Obviously, we will be back on tomorrow night, Tuesday night, for the next instalment of the Oz Pro-Am Sim Series. That's from Silverstone in our sprint format. And then we have the trucks on Thursday. The trucks on Thursday night. The Cup on Thursday night for ANZCAR as well. So looking forward to getting back into the Cup Series, and we're off to Charlotte.
We're off to Kansas.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
We are indeed.
Yeah. Charlotte's the next round of the Grand Slam, but Kansas is the next round of the Cup Series. So I certainly hope that's the case anyway, or I've been practicing the wrong track all week, but I can pretty much say that we're definitely going to Kansas. So it's going to be a much different looking Kansas to what we've seen before. Previously, the High Line was king. Everybody had run the wall. It was very much a one-groove racetrack, and the only way to overtake was via the good old-fashioned slide job. Not the case anymore since iRacing has updated a few bits and pieces. The multi-groove track works a lot better now. It's a lot more realistic the way it works. And most likely you're going to see a dominant bottom line with the ability for guys to sort of move around on the track and find the cleanest air to run in as well. So a lot more thinking, planning, variation than we would have seen in Kansas races past. So, looking forward to it.
It should be good, and you're absolutely spot on, as you would be. With us off to Kansas, I was looking at the end of May. So that brings to a close Season 1 2021 of the ANZCAR Truck Series on FGM Ecast. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we will be back with the trucks in a week or two, and we look forward to bringing you Season 2 then. I believe that is on or around the 5th of May. So we will see you then. Thanks to everyone watching. Ed, thanks for jumping in the box tonight, and we will no doubt see you out on track on Thursday.
Pleasure.
Thanks very much for watching, everyone. On FGM Ecast, your E-Place for Pace. We will see you tomorrow night.